All
Perfect.
right. Hello, everybody. This is Romi. In case you don't know who I am, we have an amazing treat for us all tonight. And so we have Natalie Rigby with us. For those of you that don't know, Natalie is actually the person that introduced me to doTERRA and a new way of life. And non-compliantly, she pretty much had a big hand in saving my life. So that's where it's at. I will be forever grateful for Natalie. And not only that, now I have a great friend and somebody that I can run with and do this together with, and we can bounce ideas. And so we've just been talking about different things. Really what we want to do is kind of share a little bit of our relationship, how it works with us as being leaders, and some of the communication, the good and the bad and the ugly, possibly, depending on where the conversation leads. And so really what we want to show is that no matter who you are and no matter what rank or what you're doing in this business, is that we're just going to keep it real, because everybody has issues and everybody has misunderstandings, and we grow in different speeds, and we just have different ideas on how all of that works. And so we really want to talk a little bit tonight about the importance of keeping the lines of communication open. And so that's one thing that I think is super, super important. And so we want to keep it pretty conversational. And if you guys have questions that you want us to talk about at the end, we're more than willing to answer those questions. And so we're just going to pop off with some different ideas, and we're just going to take it from there. And so one of the things that we talked about today that we thought was pretty important right out of the gate is the spirit of the team. And so, and I have talked about this before as well. And so the spirit of the leader, and this is totally my belief, so you can take it or leave it, however you want to do that. So I believe that how we are as leaders, that energy and that spirit of how we are conducting business, and really us personally as well, will filter down through our team. So if we have a lousy attitude, we have unforgiveness, we're take on that spirit of offense really easy, different things like that really can start to filter down through your team. And if you take just a second to kind of, in retrospect, kind of look at things that have happened on your team, or if you've seen it happen on other teams, if relationships start to break down, you can kind of see how the success runs on the team, and you can also see it duplicates. So if you're having an issue with somebody and you're not taking the steps that you need to take to fix those issues, there's a really good chance that that's going to duplicate with somebody else on your team. And so it really does foster something that becomes very, very unhealthy.
I'd like to just raise a hand, because I can see your awesome, beautiful faces. But how many of you, a lot of you have known both Romi and I for a lot of years. And how many of you can tell when Romi's off or when I'm off? By raise of hands, raise your hand if you can feel. When we know you can, and that just proves the point when we're talking about that our emotions trickle down, because we know you feel it. A lot of us are very much empaths, and we feel one another, and we've become extremely close as a group through this journey, and it's amazing the connection you have. And that is it's a wonderful blessing, but it's also a huge curse. in this business, and it makes it emotional, and it makes it difficult at times. And I think that's the biggest struggle with this business, is it is such an emotional business. Sorry, Romi, I just had to ask by raise of hands how many of them can feel it, because I can feel it.
Yeah. No. I want you to jump in, because you are the expert here.
No. We are.
I'm giving it to you. What I have found is that a lot of times with Natalie and I mean, we don't talk all the time. It's not a regular thing that we do, but it never fails. We can pick up and start talking, and I can be like, oh, I'm feeling this and this and this, or vice versa. And it just so happens that we end up being very, very parallel in how we're feeling about business, what's going on, just life in general. And so, like Natalie said, as the empath, or having that discernment, or whatever it is that you want to call it, it's really important to be able to recognize that as well. And so I talk a lot about checking yourself at the door. And so because we do end up being able to feel and be affected by what's going on in not necessarily just the group, but really just kind of as a whole, you can kind of feel what's going on. And so what can happen if we're not aware of it is that we can be doing okay, and we walk into a room that's not doing so well. And if we're not paying attention to that, we can all of a sudden take that on. And so it's very, very important to be able to recognize if you are sensitive to that, in that you pay attention to that. So like if you're getting ready to have a mentoring call with somebody on your team, you know, it would be good to check yourself before you have that call. So if you're in a good place and all of a sudden you get on the phone and you just want to rip somebody's face off, then it's time to just kind of step back for a minute and start to evaluate a little bit. Okay, is this, you know, do I need to open up that line of communication, see what's going on with them? Is this something that I need to take care of? There's just different things along those lines that are important to be very aware of in that.
And use your oils. We have oils for this very thing. Use that frankincense, use that balance, use those emotion oils, because they truly are so helpful in all aspects of this business. Right.
And if you missed the call that we did with Amber on the oils and the emotions, I highly recommend going back and checking that out, because that's going to be really helpful for you, as well as how you're the conversations that you're having with your team as well. So one of the things that I wanted to touch on really quick, and it's something that I believe plays a big part, is it's a saying that I heard a long time ago, and it's most broken relationships are just a matter of misunderstanding. And so I've talked about it a lot, as far as having our team really is, it becomes a family. And it really is heartbreaking to have a relationship that all of a sudden isn't working. And it's really, really hard when you have a relationship that is with a leader that plays a big part in your life and in your organization, and all of a sudden that relationship is not working. And so it really does boil down to, let's just talk about it. So Natalie, do you want to talk about our little conversation?
How open would you like me to be about this?
I'm an open book, so
okay.
I don't care.
All right, we're going to throw this out there. So a while back, and it was a long while back, Romi and I had a little disconnect and had a conversation during that time where we weren't understanding where one another was. And in that conversation came out a line that I took incorrectly. It was a miscommunication. And that was that I was her biggest block. And it's not that the way I took it was, wow, I've got to step back from Romi and allow her to shine because I'm in her way. I'm causing her, to not be her best self. It's me. I've got to step away. And that's what I did. And over the course of a year, slowly, this little weed that started growing within me, this little hurt, grew into this great big tree. And there was just a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of resentment. There was a larger disconnect from the two of us. And I lost my place in the team. I didn't know where I stood. And we finally got to the point just this week where we just had to throw it all out. And in that conversation, Romi, I'll let you share what you meant by that comment and where it really was. And we're sharing this with you just to show you where miscommunication comes in and how important it is not to let it go this long, because it does trickle down throughout the entire team, throughout the year. I'm sure most of you have felt that. So go ahead and share your side of that, Romi.
So my part in what I was saying to Natalie is that I because I love Natalie, I didn't want to leave Natalie behind. And so I was slowing down my growth subconsciously, really, in a way, because I love and respect and honor Natalie just because of who she is in my life. And it was kind of like that sister thing where I didn't want to leave her behind. And so it really was a total misunderstanding. However, with some of the feelings that happened with Natalie, when she pulled back, I ended up with the same kind of feelings. I felt deserted. And I felt like she didn't care about me because she backed away. And so for me, when I have those feelings, I can be like, well, screw you. I'm gonna do it without you. Or I can sit in a corner and feel sorry for myself. And so it just so happened at that point, I got pissed and I just said, okay, you don't want to be with me? I'm going to do it without you then. And so it really is a matter of total misunderstanding there. And that's where it's just, we just need to talk. If there's something, we just need to talk.
And so here's the funny part. So with that, all of a sudden I pull back, and what do I see? I see Romi just exploding. I mean, she's back, and she's doing online classes, and she's just going crazy, not knowing that that's her little attitude that she sparked. And I'm like, she is right. I'm absolutely 100% her block, because when I pull back, what happens to Romi? She explodes. Do you see how miscommunications happen? Do you see how I felt like, oh man, I've got to step back, because when I'm back, she's on fire. So it was an interesting conversation to throw it all out there with her this week and really work through that, every bit of it, every feeling, every hurt, every frustration. And boy, it felt like the weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders, and I'm sure she felt the same. Mm-hmm. I've just been so light this week from that. And so it's so important, ladies and men, if there's men on the call, please have these conversations before they grow into this big tree.
Yes.
Pull the weed fast.
Yeah. So one of the things that we also talked about is the relationship that we have with our leaders, and like the upline and all of that. So there is no doubt that all of us can do this without our upline. Our upline is not having an upline that works with you and is there with you hand in hand and all of that, that's a nicety. That is not a requirement. And so, yeah, I could have continued to go without having this conversation with Natalie, and I would have been able to continue to work the business and do what I needed to do. However, it does boil down back to the relationship and that family feel and all of that. And so there's still that little heart piece that is missing. And so you can do it. And if you choose to do it without your leader and your upline, and you choose to not have the relationships, you can do it. But it's nicer to do it with people, and it's nicer to have those relationships, and it's nice to not be the victim if you end up not having that leader. Don't sit in a corner and feel sorry for yourself. Get pissed and do it anyway.
And let me tell you something. If you're on this call, you are not alone. Like, there is nothing more frustrating than hearing somebody anywhere on my team that feels like they're alone. You've got Romi's Rock Stars, where she's been incredible at breeding that cross-line mentoring. You guys know each other and love each other and support each other. You've got that group. You've got our powerful providers. You've got Lemon Drop of Karina Brackens, and you've got the Truman Team page. So we are here. Nobody on this call should feel like they're alone and that they don't know where to get love and support from. So if your upline is not active, that's okay. You have a whole community, even outside of this team, that's there to love and support you. One thing I wanted to bring up too, Romi, when you were talking, it just reminded me of, I went to the Blue Diamond retreat with Haley Hobson up in Colorado. We had a bunch of Blue Diamonds together, and they were sitting around and they were talking about, now this is before Romi and I had our conversation. So they were talking about that it's important that we remember that we are business coaches, not life coaches. We're not marriage counselors. We're not friends. That our most important role is to be a business coach. And let me tell you, I got sick to my stomach when they said that. It sucked all the joy of doTERRA right out of my soul. And I'm here to tell you, they have it absolutely incorrect. We are friends first. And that's what was missing with Romi and I's disconnect, is that Romi and I became such close friends. I mean, we were bonded instantly. We had, if you haven't heard our story, you need to hear it. It was an amazing story, and it's not me that did anything. It was absolutely 100% God. How we found each other online, how that worked out just in the nick of time for everything there's no doubt in my mind it was God. And because of that, because it was such a spiritual experience for both of us, we have amazing connection to each other. And that is what drives me to do doTERRA. I love you guys so much, and I love you as friends first. And I will be your business coach if you need me to be your business coach, but I want to be your friend first. That's what fuels me. And I heard a quote the other day. I was watching a video from Tony Robbins, and he said, "Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure." And when I think of that, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure, I think of the people that are pushing through this trying to be business coaches first, and I feel like that's the ultimate failure. They're missing the most beautiful aspect of doTERRA. They're missing the whole heart of this company by not being friends first and business coaches last. So I just had to share that with all of you.
And I agree 100%. Just so you know, just in case you wondered.
She does. Yeah, they don't wonder. Romi, they don't wonder.
So there are some, in the relationship part of it, there are people that are warm and fuzzy like me and like Natalie. And then there's other people that are more hard line, black and white, tell me what to do. I don't need you. I mean, there's all different personalities that make this business work. And so along the lines of what Natalie was talking about, as far as having people available to help and lead and guide and mentor and all of that, not everybody's going to resonate with me. Not everybody's going to like me. Do I like that? No, not very much. But that's reality. And so it is a matter of, if we do have somebody on our team that our skills, our personality, whatever that isn't going to help that leader to the very best of their ability and give them what they need, then we can step in and say, you know what, I know this person. Let me hook you up with this person. And so that's what the networking aspect is. The cross-line networking. I mean, a lot of you guys are in the Leader Circle Mastermind group, and that really is the concept of that. The leaders that are in there, that are leading that group, we all have different skill sets, and we all have different strengths, and it's very, very powerful to be vulnerable enough to say, you know what, I don't know that I can help you with this, but I am more than willing to find somebody that can help you get what you need. I'm still here to support you. I'll cheer you on. I'll love you. I'll be here for you for whatever I can give you, but let me help you find somebody that can give you the rest of what you need. And so I think it's really, really important to allow yourself to do that, because we all start at the same place in the beginning with pretty much not knowing what we're doing. And so we're still finding our way through this. And it's okay to say, I don't know, or I can't help you.
And it's 100% okay to find that personality that person might thrive with. I've had people reach out to me before and say, you're the type of personality this person needs to hear from. I'm very, very red. Not me. The person was very, very red. I'm very, very green. And they needed to hear from someone very, very green. And if they need to hear from someone very, very red, they go to Burke. He's very red. So if you're into the personality colors, or you're into squiggles and circles and squares, try to match them up with someone you think that they would pull strength from and admire their way of working this business, because my way is not everybody's way, and Romi's way is not everybody's way. You have your own way of doing this. You have your own personality that you bring into this business, and it's important to match up a mentor to people that you may not see eye to eye with. Instead of fighting with them, just say, look, I think you could really benefit from hearing from so-and-so. They are more your type, more your style. Let's get you hooked up.
Yeah. So, mosquito. So I actually had a conversation with Lisa Grossman a couple of weeks ago, and so I wanted to share a little bit about what she shared with me, and it goes along the lines with this a little bit. And so I had a couple of leaders that I had been talking to and trying to help, and they were very, very frustrated. And in return, I was getting very, very frustrated because I was feeling like a failure because I couldn't give them the answers, and I couldn't help them in the way that they needed or wanted to be helped right away. And so, and also in the same sense, when we talk about, we all grow at different paces. Some of us have, we're gung-ho, ready to go, and some of us are okay with just taking it easy, taking it slow. So how many of you, when you get into that mode of, woohoo, this is awesome, let's go, and you have a leader that is like, oh, it'll happen when it happens. How many of you love that response? So it causes frustration. And so that's one of the things that I was talking to Lisa about. And And so one of the things that she said to me is that when you are frustrated with someone, you are judging them because their picture looks different than your picture. You cannot make them work or want something according to what your picture looks like. And so it really is a matter of stepping back, helping to see their picture. And sometimes we have to help them see their own picture. When I first started this was very learning to dream and set goals and all of that. That was all new to me. And when I first started out, and Curtis Broom talks about it, it wasn't really something, I wasn't really going for something that I really wanted. I was going for something that I really didn't want. And I really didn't want my job anymore. And so there's different ways for us to be able to help people to see their picture and then help us to see their picture so we know how to best support them. And so one of the things that Lisa was talking about is asking questions. And it is all about asking the questions. So I actually took notes when I was talking to her, and she says, you don't help people by fixing it for them. And our job is not to have the answers. Our job is to ask the right questions. And so, in the beginning, when I first started grasping this, I had already been in the habit of asking open-ended questions because that's just how I was meeting people and all of that. And so I was in that habit when I was having conversations, and then all of a sudden I wasn't. And I didn't realize that I had moved into the savior role. And I wanted to be able to fix everybody, and I wanted to be able to make it happen for everybody instead of allowing them the pleasure and the joy to be able to make it happen for themselves. And as soon as I switched back into really trying to figure out the questions, it took a weight off my shoulder again because I was really feeling like a failure. And it became all about me. And that's not what this is all about.
And that's the very moment when burnout sets in. If you start turning everything about you and trying to force your way into people's lives and force what you want, even if it's a good thought, like even if you see the potential in someone, but you're trying to force what you know they could do, you're going to get burned out. You're going to get burned out. And that's why it's so important for you to understand and know why your leaders are here and what their vision is. That's one big mistake I made in the very beginning, even before I met Romi, is powerhousing through this. You know, my story of hitting gold in 90 days and, okay, there's no way to really get to know your leaders why if you're, moving in that fast of a pace. And it causes intense burnout. And I had to go back and pretty much start all over again. I've told you before, I've only got one person on my front line that's a qualified leader. Most of my qualified leaders are down in because it took me that long to build the right relationships and to find out who was really in this and who had the vision of where we were going to really make this work. So this questioning portion that Romi's about to talk about is just so important.
So when I was talking with Lisa and she was saying, you have to ask the question. So everybody has different answers and everybody has different questions. Everybody has different pain points and people talk about the pain points. For me, my pain point was my job at the time, and it was ugly. And so sometimes I'm like, well, I don't know what to ask. How do I know what to ask? How do I know what to ask? And so then it is a matter of you just kind of really move into that listening mode. You trust your gut, you pray, whatever. If you're really focused on serving that person, then you're going to know what how you need to communicate with them and different questions to ask. And so one of the questions that you can ask is, what's the worst thing that can happen? So, when somebody comes up with the different pain points in their life, or the different things that aren't going so well, you'll know. It is a matter of helping them to see, okay, if this doesn't work right now, what is the worst thing that is going to happen? If you're really in debt right now, what is the worst thing that's going to happen if you don't pay your bills this month? You're not going to go to jail. There's different things like that. So that's one. And another one that I really like, and for me, is, what does it look like? What, when you're talking about your dreams, or you're talking about your problems, or you want to fix your problems, what does it look like? Really try and envision it in your head. And one of the things that helped me with that is that I was listening to Tony Robbins, and he did that exercise about being able to, you pick one of your dreams, and you start small, and there's not a lot of color, and he goes into lots of detail. But I followed the exercise when he did it, and I was able to magnify that dream. And I had never really done that before. And at that time when I did that, I was able to see that ranch, and I was able to see the depth of the green of the meadow, and what the wood looked like on my balcony, and what my rocking chair looked like. I could smell the coffee that I was holding while I was sitting in that rocking chair, overlooking the meadow while the deer were running. I mean, it was just this big picture in my head. And so that's where the questions will be helpful when you start saying, what does this look like? Go deep. And, sometimes it's going to be hard to do that. And so you write, or you do different things like that.
I think it's important also, when you're going through this with your leaders, when you're asking, what does doTERRA look like? What is your why? Share that with me. But you make sure you say, and then what? And then what? And keep praying for more and more, because when we start this journey, our vision is really small. But when you keep pushing someone for, well, and then what? And then what would you do? Like, we like to start people off with, how would your life be different with an extra $2,000 per month? That's the average of a silver rank. How would that make your life different? What would you do differently? Would you be in a different home at that point? Would you have a different car? Would you, what would you do differently in your life? And then you walk it up to, okay, I want you to think what your life would be like with an extra $5,000, and start to have them dream. And it's interesting, because we will get up to that $10,000 and start to lose people, because that fear starts to set in, and they don't believe that they could ever get to that $10,000. And I'm here to tell you, every single person on this call will get to that $10,000. You just have to believe it. So write down, how does life look different for you with an extra $10,000 a month right now? Write that down. Think about that. And then to go above that usually blows their mind, but it's reality. It really goes above that. What are you going to do when you have 30 extra thousand a month, or 60,000 a month? Some of you right now are like, yeah, right. Okay, work on that belief system, because this is the reality with doTERRA. And if you look through that leadership magazine and you see these people in the higher ranks, they're not cookie cutter people. This is people from all walks of life, from everywhere from being flat broke to, coming in with money. Doesn't matter. It's every walk of life has been able to make it. And the difference between maybe some of you on this call and them is just pure belief. It's that you couldn't get yourself to paint that vision, or you couldn't help your leaders paint that vision. So this is very crucial. This is why we call these crucial conversations. It's important for you to know this about yourself, but it's also crucial that you know this about your frontline leaders, your qualified leaders. You need to know this about them. You need to go through this activity with them. You need to dream with them. and you need to become close friends. Sorry, Romi.
No, it is the heart investment. And that's one of the things that we also talked about, is that when you do develop that relationship with your leaders, then you get that heart investment. I've been very blessed to have leaders that I loved before doTERRA, and I have that heart investment. I have my daughter and my sister. Why would I not want them to be successful? And so they don't have to be a blood relative. They don't have to be a best friend. They just have to be somebody that you love, that you're willing to love, that you're willing to serve, that you're willing to have that heart investment in them to make sure that they can have the good stuff. And if you know and believe that that good stuff is available to you and that you're worthy to have that, it will be that much easier to believe that you can help the people that you love have that. So when Natalie's talking about $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month or $30,000 a month or more, if there's a little bit in your head that says, why would you need that much money? People don't need that much money. That's just a waste. If you have any kind of negative reaction to the idea of you making that much money, or at the idea of you becoming a millionaire, then there's some work that needs to be done on the mindset. It could be a poverty spirit. There's all different things that can be stopping you and your growth and your business's growth in order to reach the heights that are available to you. The way that I look at it is that God wants us blessed. God wants us to have the desires of our heart. And if we are only desiring $3,000 a month, He's going to meet you where you're at. So you have to expand your belief and your vocabulary. You have to expand all of that, because if God's going to meet you where you're at in order to get your bills paid, what's going to be left over to help anybody else? You're worthy. You deserve that. God wants that for you. And if you don't believe that God wants that for you, then move into the scientific part of it and the energy and the universe and all of that, because in reality, the scientists are talking about biblical stuff. So it all lines up. That's just what it is. You just got to watch your mouth. You got to move into your belief pattern, and you got to work on that stuff, because if it's a block for you to make a lot of money, you're not going to make a lot of money, and you're not going to be able to help people in the way that they need to be helped, in the way that you were meant to help people, because you have a destiny and a purpose to change the world, to change people's lives. And if you live a minimalistic lifestyle in your mind, you're not going to change lives.
Amen, Romi. I love when she gets on a roll. I love it. And here's the thing, and it's so true. It's so true. God wants powerful people. Okay, He's blessed you for a reason. And each one of you, deep in your heart, has that desire to share so much with this world. Like, that's what fulfillment is about. When we say success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure, it's that. Everybody wants to give back. Tony Robbins is huge on this, that why do you want success? Because look at all the people you can go love and serve. And here's what's fun about that exercise. When you get past people, that income level where they're taking care of themselves, and for some that's the $5,000 a month, for some that's the $10,000 a month, for some it takes $20,000 a month to be able to take care of their needs themselves. And then what's interesting is when you start talking about, well, what if you go over, then what? That then what part of that dream, it is all 100% about serving and loving and giving back. Why wouldn't you want to get to that magical place in life where you finally get to have your heart's desire? I know everyone on here wants that, and I know that everyone on here can have that. That's why you keep driving past those hard days. That's why you keep sharing your passion. We're already sharing a gift, and then we get blessed and blessed on top of that. It's magical. I love it.
Magical.
Yep.
Yeah. And when your heart becomes so full of gratitude that there just aren't the words in the dictionary to express how grateful you are, that's an amazing feeling. It's just incredible. So this may sound silly. So little dreams and little things that we have wanted, growing up and all of that. So yesterday I talk about that I've always wanted a bus. So we have the bus. I have never lived in anything that I love and how I feel being in this ever, my whole life. And I never remember not wanting a bus. That seems kind of silly, but it's not silly to God because he knows that's the desire of my heart. But one of the cool things is, and this is very, very probably silly, but yesterday we're parked next to a couple that we always call it a pre-bus. So it's the bus that I've wanted. The bus. It's so cool. And I've looked at pictures and I've always wanted to be in one just to see what it looks like. And so it just so happens we were having a conversation with them yesterday and they're like, well, just come in and look. And it was like, oh my gosh, thank you, God. It was just something very tiny. I've always wondered and always wanted to see what the inside looked like. And I got it. And that doesn't seem big, but it was cool to me. My whole life, I wanted to see what they were like inside. And so it's just, as you get the little dreams, just don't let them go. It doesn't matter how big or how small they seem. If they're important to you, they're important. Don't let somebody minimize your dreams.
I love it.
So we have questions. Do you have anything before we move into questions, Natalie?
Nope, I'm just in awe of you. I'm staying silent.
Oh, jeez. It's the blue that's radiating. So for right now, let's just do just kind of like an open mic share, ask questions. So just if you want to talk, unmute yourself.
Can I add something, Mom?
Uh-huh.
So it kind of goes along with the conversation we had the other day about dreams, because I've reached mine. And so this is probably going to sound, sorry, really materialistic to some people. But for me, it's something that I want and that I'm working towards. So my next goal, no matter how materialistic it may seem to other people, for blue or presidential, diamond, whichever one comes first for me, my goal is to have my dress custom made for when I walk, and to go to Paris and Dubai, just me and my husband. Those are my three things that I want for my next rank advancement goal. But I struggle with that because to a lot of people that's very materialistic. But I am at a place now where I can financially give to people as much as I want whenever I want.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's reaching and getting my ultimate desire while I'm able to help other people, because I have come to that spot in doTERRA where I can do that. And so that's been one of my biggest struggles with everything. And I know that other people have that, and you know, other people struggle with, oh, I want the big house, I want the fancy new car. If that's something that you want, go for it. No matter whatever anybody else thinks about your dream or your goal, that's yours.
Mm-hmm. LaTaryn.
What?
I love it, LaTaryn. Where was I last summer for an entire month? I was in Europe with my family, and it was the most precious time I've had. I'll never forget that. Don't ever feel like you're being selfish for taking your time, because you've worked hard to take your time. And like you said, there is so much to give still that you can do that. So don't ever feel guilty for that.
And always make sure you're taking time for you. I struggled with that I still struggle with that, finding time for me. And it's needed, even if it's just taking the 15 minutes a day, no matter when it is, to take that deep breath. And having 4 kids, it's hard to find that time for you, even if it's just an extra 15 minutes in the shower, just for you. You have to have that release.
Yep.
So LaTaryn is the classic LaTaryn, and like I said, the people on my front line, LaTaryn and Karina, and I mean Cresta, the people that I work with closely, the ones that I love, they are a classic example of why I believe that no matter what, your family and friends need to know about your opportunity. And some of them are going to say no, some of them are going to laugh, and some of them are going to say yes. LaTaryn is 34 years old. Why would I not want something like that? A life like she has for somebody that I love. Why would you not want somebody that you love to have an amazing life like that? Karina's getting ready to move to Hawaii. The cost of living in Hawaii is expensive. They get to go and help people in Hawaii because of this. This is an amazing opportunity to be able to help the people that we love. And if people say no, it's only for right now. And if they never say yes, it's their loss. Really their loss. We know we got a good thing. And I think being fearless and sharing that good thing is really what is going to make everybody's dreams come true. Okay, who else wants to share?
I love the comment that it's like having Emily Wright on here. I'm like, yes, that's what doTERRA is about. She's the heart of the company, and this is what we do. We cry together. We dream together. This is the fulfillment part of success.
So I'm gonna go, Romi.
Okay.
So my husband has had a calling to do missions since he was in college, and he really wrestled with that and really argued with God about it. And he went ahead and did college and got his international agri missions degree and then life changed for him drastically. And now, because of doTERRA, we get to go that. And that's a game changer for us. I love working with people, and I love that this family is first for us, and this made our dreams come true.
And they just got a house today. They got approved for a house with the deck that overlooks the ocean.
Wow. That's awesome.
I'll be putting Hawaii on my agenda.
3,500 feet down.
So I think you're going to have a lot of visitors. I'm coming.
Anytime our house.
Anybody else want to share? Have questions? Burning desire?
I've got a burning desire to meet all you guys next week.
Yeah.
My wishes are small yet, so that's what I want to do.
We can't wait to see you.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I missed one of the calls earlier today, and if this was covered, I apologize. I was late. I got caught on my class tonight. I had some technical issues, and I wouldn't give up, so I was half an hour late. So I was listening to the call earlier today about expanding your network and that sort of thing, and I've read a couple of the ideas about like going out and giving diffusers to people and saying, hey, you want to just try this out for a week, and that sort of thing. And then I did go and join something. I joined outside of my ability. It's weird. I totally have a heart and passion for women, but they scare the bejeebers at me at the same time. And so I'd rather talk to a crowd of 10,000 women than sit in a room for coffee with like women strangers. It just like makes me start to get a hot flash. And so I joined a gymnastics thing with my daughter, and it's all for homeschool moms because we homeschool. And so anyway, I was just curious, and I'll approach them and get to know them, that sort of thing. But that's what I would consider to be my network. I mean, those are like people just like me. And I would like to find people, and I know that that's a pretty good solid group to go after. We have like-mindedness and similar interests, but I would also like to expand outside of that, and certainly like a doctor's office or a dentist office or something would be outside of that. But I mean, what would be like way outside the box, but yet reasonable to expand my network for me to go find somebody? Because I'm willing to do it. I just, because of my introvertedness, I have a hard stop at what to do. I cannot think outside of like, if you're not right in front of me, you don't exist. And I'm trying to break through that. So it helps me to have some ideas if anyone's got some.
Well, for me with building, I'll just share kind of what I did, and maybe you can pull from it and other people can interject here. But for me, it was just holding class after class and finding my immediate warm market, finding those who would host classes in their neighborhood. So it brought in new people to the team that way. I will say, you're talking about doctors' offices and dentists and stuff like that. And I have people that get excited all the time and start talking to me about doctors' offices and dentist office and hospitals. And I will share with you, I've been in this for 8 years, and there is not anything more powerful than a mom in this business. A mom that's passionate about using the oils. That's your target person. It's a mom who's passionate about the wellness of her family. And that's what's going to drive your business forward in the most incredible way, the most successful way ever is those moms. So as many in-home events that you can do, and reaching out to people and just seeing if they'd be willing to host a class for an on guard, or for whatever little incentive, if they'd be willing to let you share your heart and passion for essential oils with them, come teach them how to use them. That's what worked for me, is just just that. Just so you know too, none of my qualified leaders, I have one qualified leader who was a friend of mine before doTERRA. The rest were complete strangers. So complete strangers, all of my qualified leaders.
Okay, no, that helps. I was thinking about trying to think outside of my box, because it's not that I delegitimize, being a mother at all, because I don't. If anything, I've elevated it to an unnatural level. However, you know what I mean? So, the other day, so we were on TV. If you're local, you might have seen it. Anyway, we were on TV because we made a big stink about someone handing my son an unmarked pill when he was at Comic-Con. And he came home with it, and we hit the roof. We called the news, made a big stink. Anyway, I have my master's degree in journalism, and my husband said, drive down to South Jordan. We're in Ogden. He's like, drive down to South Jordan. You're going to be in the news. They called us. They want to interview you. And I was like, great. So I got out of my yoga pants. I did my hair. I straightened it. I had a full face of makeup on, and I was like, I'm going to go down there, and I'm going to rock the world for moms. And I'm going to I'm going to mention doTERRA, and I'm just going to be like, well, we're wellness advocates. I was going to do all this stuff. And so when I got down there, I talked to the woman for a minute, and she goes, actually, we're just going to talk to the man today, okay? And I was like, I almost cried and ruined everything. I was like, oh, I can't cry now, not of all times. And so Natalie definitely not want to talk to me. I was so mad. And so I said to my husband, I was like, women, they don't respect moms, and she didn't even know, I'm more educated than you are. And I was so upset, and I was like, I'm nobody. She wants me to sit in the corner and play with children. And so it's actually really, it's very validating to hear you say that, because I was really like, oh, forget moms. I'm going for anyone with a PhD and above. That's who I'm going after. And so anyway, no, it's good to hear that, because my circle is moms, and at least in Utah, I have not been able to break out of that. So if that's my market, then that's my market. So I just had taken that idea from someone. I thought, I guess I could call doctors and stuff. But, like you said, it is networking. It's less personal to have to go contact a doctor than it is have to sit in a room with some ladies. And so I tend to mentally resist it. So I'll just keep doing that then, because I do have some groups I've stuck myself into that are just like me. And if that's where I've got to go, then I'll just keep focusing on it. It's just, I took a blow to my self-esteem, and I thought, no more moms. I'm done being the mom. I'm done with the mom stuff.
But that is truly where the power is, and that's where the heart is. And you get a woman passionate about these oils and passionate about sharing it, and there's no stopping her. There's no stopping her. So you are the powerful person in doTERRA. It will never be I am yet to see a doctor blow this out of the water like the moms have. So
yeah, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, the moms are definitely the heart of this company.
Yeah, girl power.
Girl power.
Well, I know Homer's on the call, and he's totally like, wait, what? His whole focus is we're getting men, and he's been doing so great with that. So he's all like, it's a lot of girl power over there. I have noticed that.
It is, and we do need more men. I think there's value in what he's doing. I love what he's doing.
For sure.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of success with Bert coming in the door. I'm not going to discount his almost a validation. It's really weird, but you're right. Sometimes even women find him more validating than me at times.
Yeah.
But when it comes right down to it, yeah, they're going to feel that passion, and that passion usually brewing within that heart of that woman. So it's powerful to have both of you involved like that. It really is. But yeah, your target audience, his can be the men, but also highly encourage them bringing their wives in.
Yeah.
So
that's
Alicia,
actually a good point. That's a good point.
Alicia, I have some tips for you, because I recently moved to the East Coast from Illinois, and my husband and I had a huge network here. He grew up here. We went to college here. So we were like, this is going to be so easy. We're just going to tap into this network we have. They're all going to enroll. We're going to be diamond in a month. Nope, it didn't happen like that at all. People here were just so closed off to any, our voodoo oils. They didn't want to hear anything about it. Network marketing is like the devil. Don't even talk to me about it. So anyway, it was a huge blow to me too, because now I'm like, oh crap, what do I do now? This is my plan. These are my people. What do I do? And I don't know if you guys have meetup.com where you are, but I joined a ton of different groups with what was interesting to me. I joined like a hiking group. I joined a baby wearing group. I joined a full moon ceremony group, like all these different things. And I literally have so many different networks now just from joining these different meetups and Facebook groups that it really helped me. And I loved it. Like I actually did it more to help fulfill kind of this almost like depression that I was in when I moved back here, because I was kind of missing the connections with the people who I, when I moved away to Illinois 4 years before that I had, and this whole other stuff. So again, it's like when you're in alignment with your passions, those leaders will start showing up, and that's what's been happening very recently here. All that has been kind of.
I'm sure we must have it. I mean, it's a big enough city here. I'm sure there's going to be meetups here. Okay.
We do.
But so yeah, dog walking groups. I mean, there's like belly dancing. Like there's a group for literally everything.
No one wants to see my belly. I just had a baby. No, that's actually really good. I'm the total opposite. I moved out to Utah from the East Coast. I'm from New York, and so I haven't even after 7 years. I wouldn't say I've made more than a handful of meaningful connections, which is why I'm looking like, okay, if this is a business of meaningful connections, I have wasted the last 7 years of my life avoiding people in Utah. So I need to really step outside. And so I'm willing to, it's just not in my skill set. And I've certainly been here long enough that I feel like I've exhausted everything. So I'm looking at it with fresh eyes to see what I can do. So meetup's a great idea. I will totally look at a meetup as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we're going to stop the recording, and then we'll just hang out. If anybody has any more questions, we just don't want the recording to go so long that people don't listen to it. So, but